I spent 3 weeks creating a custom metal sculpture for my girlfriend's promotion party. She pulled it out, looked at it, and said, "What is this exactly?" Then laughed and added, "Oh, it's like a preschool art project? I mean, it's sweet that you tried, but this is kind of amateur hour." Her coworker smirked and said, "Well, it's the thought that counts, right?" I just stood up, took my sculpture, and said, "We're done. This relationship is over." Hey everyone! Before we jump into today's video, I need your help. We've noticed the channel is losing some traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can support us. It's quick, free, and it helps us keep bringing you awesome content. Your support means the world. Let's keep this channel growing together. Thanks so much. Now let's start the video. Never thought I'd be posting here, but figured some of you might appreciate my life drama. Throwaway account for obvious reasons, though I doubt my girlfriend uses Reddit. You know how sometimes you think you know someone, then they do something that makes you realize you never really knew them at all? Yeah, that's what happened to me. I, 32 male, have been working as a metal sculptor welder for about a decade now. Started right after college, where I got my fine arts degree with a focus on metalwork. Everyone thought I was crazy passing up corporate jobs to play with fire, as my dad called it, but I knew desk life would kill my soul. Took me 3 years of apprenticing and side gigs before I could afford my own shop, but now I've got a decent client list and take genuine pride in what I create with my hands. My workspace is this old warehouse I bought for a steal when the manufacturing district was going through tough times. Industrial concrete floors, exposed brick walls, massive windows that let in perfect north light. Spent a year renovating it myself, living in a corner with just a mattress and hot plate while I fixed the roof, updated the electrical, and built out a proper apartment upstairs. Now the ground floor is all workshop, and I've got a comfortable loft-style living space above. Not trying to brag, but I've built up a solid reputation in my city for quality custom metalwork. Everything from decorative pieces for high-end homes to corporate installations. Most of my business comes from word-of-mouth referrals, which is exactly how I ended up in this situation. The thing about metal is it doesn't lie. Can't fake your way through a weld. Either you know what you're doing or you don't. I think that's why I've always valued straightforward people. The ones who say what they mean and stand by their word. Guess that's why what happened hit me harder than expected. I was dating Jessica, 29 female, for about 7 months. Met her at my buddy Ryan's housewarming party, where she caught my eye debating craft beers in the kitchen. Something about her confidence stood out. Charismatic, and vibrates good energy. The kind of woman who naturally draws attention. We started talking when she asked about a steel bottle opener I'd made for Ryan. We exchanged numbers, and began dating. She worked in marketing for this rising tech company downtown. What impressed me early on was her genuine interest in my metalwork. No fake enthusiasm, just thoughtful questions that showed respect for craftsmanship. Coming from similar working-class backgrounds, we connected over building something meaningful with our own hands. And yeah, things were going pretty solid between us. At least I thought so. We'd spend weekends exploring different neighborhoods, checking out local art shows. She claimed to love the raw creativity of metal sculpture, and hiking the trails outside the city. She'd stay over at my place most weekends since I had more space. She seemed to dig the industrial vibe, always taking pictures of random corners of my place for her Instagram. Looking back, maybe she just liked the aesthetic and not what it represented. Anyways, the thing is, Jessica had been working her butt off for this big promotion for months. Late nights, working weekends, constant strategizing. She'd been at the company for 3 years and was gunning for senior marketing manager. When she finally got it, she was over the moon. Called me from her office, practically shouting the news. I took her out to celebrate that night, just the two of us. But she wanted something bigger. A real celebration with a party at this upscale restaurant downtown that her company often used for events. Her whole team would be there, including her boss, let's call him Marcus, and some big clients. She was pretty amped about it, and I was genuinely happy for her. But something set me off when she joked that I should make sure my outfit didn't embarrass her in front of the big shots. Half laughing, but fully serious. Said the restaurant had a certain image, and she didn't want to look like she brought the help. "This is it, Ethan," she told me the night before the party. "This is the stepping stone I've been waiting for. 2 years as senior manager, then director, then who knows? Maybe CMO by the time I'm 35? The thing is, she always had her career path mapped out with military precision, something I respected about her. I've always been more of a build something excellent and see where it takes you kind of guy. But her ambition was impressive. For her gift, I wanted to make something special, something that actually meant something. See, Jessica had this whole story about her career journey. Started from nothing, worked through 3 different industries before finding her groove in tech marketing. She'd tell anyone who'd listen about how each step built on the last one. Her first job out of college was in retail management. Then she moved to event planning, then traditional advertising, and finally tech marketing. Every step was necessary, she'd say, even the mistakes. So I spent almost 3 weeks designing and crafting this metal sculpture that represented her journey. Started with sketches, then small mock-ups to test how different metals would interact. Wanted to make sure the piece told her story visually without needing explanation, while still having those deeper layers of meaning for her to discover. Used different metals for each part of her career path, all flowing upward. Picked copper for her retail days, she called it fundamental. Brass for her event planning gigs, since it shines under pressure. Aluminum for her advertising time, sleek but nothing special. And stainless steel for her tech job, modern and tough. I added some cool details to represent her journey. Made this maze-like section for that product launch she messed up but fixed. Put in some little steps showing her moving up at work. Even carved tiny dates on them. Used iron at the bottom for her hometown roots. She always called that her backbone. And, not gonna lie, this was some of my best work. When I finished at like 2 a.m. before her party, I just sat there checking it out for an hour. Was pretty damn proud of how it turned out. My friend Diego, who owns that art gallery downtown, stopped by that morning to drop off some materials and spotted it on my bench. He picked it up without asking, typical Diego, and examined it from every angle. "This commission or personal?" he asked. "Gift for my girlfriend," I told him. "She just got a big promotion. She must be something special," he said, still studying the piece. "This has soul, man. If it ever needs a home, bring it to the gallery. Piece like this would sell in a heartbeat." I wrapped it carefully in that handmade box I mentioned before. Spent almost as much time on the box as some people would on the gift itself. Selecting the perfect walnut, hand-cutting the dovetail joints, inlaying her initials in maple, finishing it with tung oil that brought out the deep richness of the wood grain. Even lined it with custom-cut midnight blue velvet to cradle the sculpture perfectly. I worked on it during every spare moment I had, often late into the night after she'd gone home. Had to hide it whenever she came over unexpectedly. Pulled 3 all-nighters the week before her party to get it perfect. My buddy who owns an art gallery even stopped by while I was working on it and offered to display it if it was ever available. "This has soul," he told me. Felt pretty good about that. The night of her celebration came around. Everyone dressed up nice, fancy drinks flowing, appetizers being passed around. The restaurant had a private room with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. Pretty swanky place. About 20 people were there. Her immediate team, some higher-ups, a few clients she was close with. Jessica was the center of attention, glowing with all the congratulations. She wore this deep blue dress she'd bought specially for the occasion, hair done up, the whole 9 yards. She looked happy, confident, in her element. I hung back for a bit, chatting with the few people I'd met before at company events. One guy, Tyler from her team, was giving me the lowdown on exactly how big of a deal this promotion was. "Marketing leadership has been watching her for a while," he told me. "This is just the beginning for her." Then came time for gifts. Marcus, her boss, clinked his glass to get everyone's attention. "Let's take a moment to celebrate Jessica properly," he announced. "Some of us have brought a little something to mark the occasion." Her co-workers got her the usual stuff, fancy leather-bound planner, gift cards to high-end places. Marcus gave her some designer office accessories from that fancy stationery store downtown. Rose gold desk set that probably cost more than my first welding machine. Standard corporate gifts, nothing special or personal. Jessica made a big show of appreciating each one, posing for pictures, giving hugs, the works. When it was my turn, I handed her the polished wooden box containing the sculpture. I'd made the box too, dark walnut with her initials inlaid in maple. It wasn't massive, about the size of a basketball trophy, but it had weight to it, real substance. People gathered around, curious. "This feels substantial," she said, smiling as she set it on the table. I noticed a slight hesitation in her eyes before she opened it. Maybe she was expecting jewelry. She'd been dropping hints about this designer necklace she liked. Under her breath, she mumbled something like, "Hope it's not another one of those weird rustic things," just loud enough for a few people to hear and chuckle. She opened it and her face just dropped. She pulled out the sculpture, held it up, and stared at it like she was trying to figure out what the hell it was. Her smile disappeared and she glanced at her boss real quick before looking back at it. "What is this exactly?" she asked with this weird fake smile, like she was waiting for me to say I was joking. "It's a custom metal sculpture representing your career journey," I told her. "Each metal represents a different phase. Copper for retail, brass for events, aluminum for advertising, and steel for tech. Shows how everything built on what came before. That maze part is for that product launch problem you told me about, and before I could finish, she let out this little laugh. Not the good kind. The kind that makes your stomach drop. Oh, it's like a preschool art project? She glanced around at her colleagues with this smirk. I mean, it's sweet that you tried, but this is kind of amateur hour, isn't it? The table got quiet. Her boss looked uncomfortable, suddenly very interested in his drink. One of her co-workers, think her name was Diane, gave a nervous laugh and said, "Well, it's the thought that counts, right?" Jessica set it down like it was taking up too much space. Yeah, I guess. Though some thoughts should probably stay thoughts. Then she picked up the designer handbag her co-worker brought. Now this is more my style. Who doesn't love Prada? I didn't say anything at first. Just watched as she dismissed something I'd poured my skill and time into. Something that actually meant something. Not out of anger, I was just reassessing everything I thought I knew about her. The way she looked around the room for validation after mocking my gift told me everything I needed to know about who she really was. In that moment, it was like seeing her mask slip off. All those conversations about appreciating craftsmanship. All those times she'd supposedly admired my dedication to creating things of substance. Just lines she'd fed me that matched what she thought I wanted to hear. The real Jessica was right there in front of me, seeking approval from people who gave her mass-produced status symbols while mocking something with actual meaning and effort behind it. It wasn't even about her not liking the gift. Whatever. Not everyone's gonna like the same stuff. But the way she just trashed my work in front of everyone to make herself look cool, that's some high school level BS. Pretty much told me everything I needed to know about who she really was. Talk about mask off moment. Everything kind of went slow-mo for a second. Felt weirdly chill, like when you finally confirm someone's been playing you the whole time. When she looked back at me with that laugh with me expression, I just said, "Think we're done here." "What?" she asked, still with that fake smile. "We're done. United States. This relationship." Just stood up, grabbed my sculpture, put it back in its box. I don't waste my time with people who mock what I create. You just showed everyone exactly who you really are. You could feel everyone at the table getting super uncomfortable. Someone did that awkward cough thing. Party mood crashed hard. "Ethan, come on," she whispered, looking around at her coworkers. "Don't make a scene." "No scene needed," I said, keeping it flat. "Congrats on the promotion. Good luck with that. I'm out." I nodded to her boss and coworkers, picked up my box, and walked out. Simple as that. No shouting, no drama, just a clean break. As I walked to my truck, I heard the restaurant door open behind me. Thought it might be Jessica, but it was Tyler, her coworker. "Hey man, that was rough," he said. For what it's worth, I thought the sculpture was incredible. The detail in it. Most people in there wouldn't recognize real art if it bit them in the ass. I thanked him and got in my truck. On the drive home, my phone blew up with texts and calls from Jessica. I put it on silent and focused on the road. I wasn't even angry, more disappointed, maybe a little sad that I'd misjudged someone so completely. When I got back to my place, I walked through my workshop, turning on just the small desk lamp, set the box down and opened it, looking at the sculpture under the soft light. Still thought it was one of my best pieces. Wondered how she could look at something that represented her own story and see nothing of value. I turned my phone back on and scrolled through her messages. They started with anger. "How could you embarrass me like that?" Moved to guilt. "After everything we've been through." Then switched to damage control. "Please come back. Everyone thinks something terrible happened." I sent her one text. "There's nothing to discuss. If you have some decency left, at least respect that this relationship is over." Then I blocked her number. Not out of spite. I just needed space to think. I opened a soda and sat on my balcony overlooking the city. Tried to make sense of what happened. The Jessica I thought I knew would have appreciated the thought behind the gift, even if she didn't love the execution. But maybe that person was just a careful construction, someone she pretended to be while the real Jessica waited in the wings. Woke up the next day, went for a run, showered. Life goes on, right? Making coffee when I remembered that I'm supposed to do this big job for Jessica's company. Their charity gala thing coming up. Big deal apparently. All their fancy clients would be there. Contract was worth $20,000, and I was planning on using that cash to buy some new equipment. When we started the deal, I made sure to add this clause, letting either of us bail if personal shit went sideways. Jessica laughed about it. "Always Mr. Careful," she said, but she agreed it made sense. So I emailed her boss, Marcus. Told him something like, "Marcus, got to cancel our contract due to personal differences with Jessica. I'll refund your deposit and can suggest some other metal artists who might help you out." He called me within an hour, sounding stressed. Ethan, the gala's in 6 weeks. Can we work something out? Maybe you don't have to deal with Jessica directly? I told him that I need clean boundaries. Business and personal drama don't mix. Already got names of 3 good artists who could step in. He wasn't happy, but thanked me for the recommendations. Sent back their deposit that afternoon and moved on. Had plenty of other projects waiting anyway. The next couple days were quiet. I threw myself into work, stayed late at the shop, met up with a buddy for dinner one night. Life settles into new patterns pretty quickly if you let it. 3 days later, Jessica showed up at my shop. I was welding when I heard the door open, looked up to see her standing there. "We need to talk," she said loudly. Wow, what a surprise. She looked like shit. Hair a mess, barely any makeup, regular clothes instead of her designer office wear. Funny how people only dress down when they want something. Guess the "I'm just a regular person" costume was supposed to make me feel bad for her or something. I set down my welding torch and flipped up my mask. "I'm working. What do you want?" "You can't back out of the gala project," she said, getting straight to the point. "Marcus is furious. The board is breathing down our necks. This gala is make or break for our new community initiative, and everyone loved your design concepts." She continued, "We counted on you. I put my name on the line for you, Ethan. You owe me." She crossed her arms like she was scolding a kid who broke her favorite toy. "I can, and I did," I replied simply. "The contract allows for it. My job is literally on the line here." Her voice cracked. "I was the one who brought you in. I vouched for you. Now I look incompetent." I took off my gloves and leaned against my workbench. "That's unfortunate, but it's not my problem anymore." She stepped closer, past shelves of materials and half-finished projects. "You're doing this to get back at me. I'm not doing anything to you, Jessica. I'm making a business decision based on changed circumstances. Look, I'm sorry about what happened at the party," she said, switching tactics, voice going all soft and persuasive. "I was nervous, trying to impress everyone. I didn't mean what I said about your work." "Yeah, you did," I said flatly. "Let's not pretend, Jess. You showed everyone exactly the kind of snake you are, and now you're dealing with the consequences." She stepped closer, ignoring my insults. "Ethan, please. Can't we just put this behind us? The sculpture was actually beautiful when I looked at it more closely." "You never looked at it closely," I said. "You were too busy trying to get laughs from your coworkers to notice anything about it. Hope you enjoyed it." She ran a hand through her hair. "What do you want from me? An apology? Fine. I'm sorry. I truly am. I was an idiot." "Yeah, you were, and still. I don't want anything from you. This isn't a negotiation." I could see desperation in her eyes. "What can I do to fix this? The company needs those installations. I need this to work out. Don't be so petty. It's just a sculpture. It's not like I insulted your actual work or something important," she said, waving her hand dismissively, like 3 weeks of my labor was nothing more than a doodle on a napkin. I leaned against my workbench. "Your problem is with your company, not me. You torched a business relationship that made you look good. Now you're facing the fallout. What does that mean exactly? Public apology. Same audience that watched you mock my work." Her eyes widened. "You want me to apologize in front of my whole team?" "Nope. On your company's social media, the accounts you manage. Post a picture of the sculpture, explain what it actually represents, and apologize for your behavior. Tag me and my business." The color drained from her face. "That would destroy my image." "Funny how accountability works," I shrugged. "Those are my terms." "That's basically blackmail," she stammered. "It's the consequence of your actions. You publicly disrespected my work for laughs. Now you can publicly own that mistake. Or don't. Not my problem either way. If I do this, you'll complete the project. I'll do the work because your colleagues shouldn't suffer for you being an ass. But we're done personally." She hesitated. "I need time to think about it. You have until 5 p.m. tomorrow. After that, I'm booked with other projects." She left without another word. I went back to my welding, the familiar rhythm of the work helping to clear my mind. For a while, I actually forgot about the whole situation, lost in the flow of creating something with my hands. That's always been my escape. Later that night, I got a text from that guy Tyler, her coworker. "Don't know what's going on with the gala project, but Jessica's been locked in meetings with Marcus all afternoon. Never seen her so stressed." I didn't reply. Not my circus, not my monkeys. The next day passed normally. Client meeting in the morning, supply run at lunch, back to the shop for fabrication work in the afternoon. I'd almost forgotten about my ultimatum when my phone buzzed at 4:52 p.m. Jessica had tagged me and my business in a post on her company's main social media account. There was a professional-looking photo of my sculpture, beautifully lit to highlight all the detailed metalwork and the flow of the different materials. Must have gotten a photographer to shoot it properly. Underneath was a lengthy caption. Art tells stories that words sometimes can't. This incredible custom metal sculpture was created by, she mentioned me, to celebrate my recent promotion. Each element represents a different phase of my career journey, culminating in my current role. During my celebration, I failed to appreciate the craftsmanship, meaning, and time that went into this piece. Instead, I made dismissive comments that were disrespectful to both the art and the artist. I sincerely apologize to Ethan for not recognizing the value of something made with such skill and thoughtfulness. In the marketing world, we often focus on glossy packaging and forget that true value comes from substance and meaning. Thank you, Ethan, for this reminder and this beautiful piece of art. The post was already getting attention. Likes, shares, comments expressing admiration for the sculpture and the transparency of the apology. Several industry peers of hers had already commented about how brave she was to admit her mistake. A few art accounts had even started sharing it, commenting on the technical aspects of the piece. I sent a simple email to Marcus. I've reconsidered and am available to complete the gala installations as originally planned. I'll begin work immediately to ensure everything is ready on schedule. Regards, Ethan. His response came within minutes, filled with relief and gratitude. He didn't mention Jessica or her post, but it was clear he'd seen it. Excellent news, Ethan. We're thrilled to be moving forward. I've already instructed accounting to reissue the deposit. Please let me know if you need any additional information or resources to complete the work on time. I threw myself into the gala project. The concept was a series of 5 interconnected metal sculptures representing the company's core values: innovation, integrity, community, excellence, and growth. Each piece stood about 8 feet tall and incorporated LED lighting elements that would change based on proximity of viewers. Pretty complex stuff, but the kind of challenge I live for. For the next month, I was in full creation mode. Early mornings, late nights, takeout dinners at my workbench. The pieces were coming together beautifully, maybe some of my best commercial work. I coordinated with Marcus on logistics, scheduled the installation, arranged for my team to help transport everything. Jessica's name never came up in our communications. Tyler texted me once. Just saw the progress pics you sent Marcus. Holy shit, man. These are going to steal the show. The day before installation, Jessica emailed me formally. The event coordinator has scheduled the installation for 9 a.m. tomorrow. Security has been notified to expect you and your team. Please confirm. I replied with a simple, confirmed. We'll be there early to begin setup. Installation day arrived. Me and 2 guys who helped me with bigger projects loaded everything carefully into the rented box truck. The venue was this renovated historic building downtown. Exposed brick walls, massive windows, wooden beams overhead. Perfect backdrop for my pieces. We got there early and started unloading. The event team was already there. I focused on the installation, making sure each piece was positioned exactly right, checking and double-checking the electrical connections for the LED elements. Around noon, I spotted Jessica across the venue, clipboard in hand, talking with the caterers. She glanced over, saw me watching, and quickly looked away. Kept her distance the whole day, though I caught her looking at the installations a few times when she thought I wouldn't notice. I couldn't care less. By late afternoon, everything was ready. The sculptures looked even better than I'd imagined in the space. The metal catching the light from the tall windows, the embedded LEDs creating subtle color shifts as people walked past. Several of the event staff stopped to compliment the work. One guy spent about 15 minutes just walking around the main piece, studying it from different angles. These are stunning, he told me. They transform the whole space. The gala was scheduled for the next evening. I wasn't invited, of course, but Tyler sent me photos throughout the night. The installations were a hit. People taking pictures with them, executives bringing potential clients over to see them. The company's CEO apparently spent 10 minutes explaining the symbolism to a major investor. Your work is the star of the show, Tyler texted. Jessica's boss keeps bringing people over to see them. Pretty sure she's seething somewhere by the bar. The gala was a major success, according to the local business news. My installations were featured prominently in the event coverage, with several industry publications commenting on the striking metalwork that elevated the entire space. I returned the next day to dismantle and remove the temporary supports and tools I'd left behind. The venue was mostly empty, just cleaning crew and a few stragglers from the event team. As I was packing up my tools, Marcus approached me. Excellent work, Ethan. Truly exceptional. Thanks. Glad it worked out, I said. He hesitated, then added quietly, for what it's worth, I saw the sculpture you made for Jessica. That kind of talent and thoughtfulness shouldn't have been dismissed. I just nodded and continued packing up. What else was there to say? In the following weeks, I picked up several new clients who had attended the gala. My business was doing better than ever. A boutique hotel downtown commissioned a major lobby installation. An architect I'd been trying to work with for years finally reached out about a collaboration. The local arts council contacted me about participating in the summer sculpture walk. I later heard through the grapevine that Jessica got absolutely wrecked career-wise after everything went down. Not just passed over for a promotion, straight up blacklisted from the upper management track. Tyler told me over beers that her boss pulled her into a closed-door meeting where they basically told her she'd hit her ceiling at the company. They used corporate speak like concerns about judgment and interpersonal skills, Tyler said. But what they meant was, we can't trust you with important clients after seeing how you really act when you think there's nothing at stake. The team restructuring wasn't just random timing either. They deliberately moved her to a division with zero client contact, handling internal marketing nobody sees. They basically put her in the corner with the digital equivalent of crayons, Tyler laughed. She went from presenting to the CEO to making internal newsletter templates. She actually tried reaching out about a month later, sending this pathetic text about talking things through. Just replied, nothing to discuss, and blocked her number. Found out later she'd been telling people I was unreasonable and holding a grudge until someone showed her the social media post she made herself. Hard to play victim when there's public evidence of you being the asshole. The sculpture thing is where karma really kicked her in the teeth, though. I kept it, obviously. For a few weeks, just let it sit in my workshop. Then one night I picked it up again and decided to rework it. Not to erase what happened, but to transform it into something better. Added elements about resilience and authenticity. You know, things I'd learned the hard way. Put in a deliberate break in the career path, then made it stronger after the break. Changed the top to a spiral that keeps going up instead of some final destination point. Basically turned it from Jessica's career into overcoming setbacks and fake-ass people. My buddy Diego convinced me to enter it in this local art show. Called it Authentic Trajectory, with some artist statement about career paths having unexpected turns. Opening night was wild. People couldn't get enough of this piece. They'd stand there studying it for minutes, asking questions about techniques and materials. This curator from the city's contemporary art museum wouldn't leave me alone all night. And guess what? It won first place. Got prize money, invites to bigger exhibitions, gallery representation offers, the whole deal. That preschool art project Jessica mocked, now sitting in the Contemporary Art Museum as part of their special exhibition on work and identity in modern America. They even put it on the promotional materials. But then, Jessica found out, her coworker Kelly is apparently friends with the museum's social media manager, who posted about the exhibition featuring rising star Ethan Miller's powerful mixed metal sculpture that explores career resilience. According to Tyler, Jessica saw it and had a complete meltdown in the office bathroom. Full-on crying jag when she realized the thing she publicly trashed was now being celebrated by actual art professionals while her career was stalled out in corporate purgatory. And about 3 months after everything, ran into Tyler at a brewery. Dude, that social media apology post destroyed her, he told me. Marketing people live and die by their image. Jessica built this whole personal brand about authenticity and appreciating quality. Then suddenly, there's proof she's fake as hell. Apparently, this huge potential client saw the post and asked Marcus, if that's how she treats quality work from someone she's dating, how does she treat the people who pay her salary? Tyler couldn't stop laughing. Marketing director practically got an aneurysm when he heard about it. Jessica tried damage control by suddenly pretending to be this massive art supporter. Started posting about local artists, visiting galleries, commenting on creative stuff. Total desperate move that everyone saw through. Too little, too late, Tyler said. Can't put that genie back in the bottle. But the cherry on top was this meeting with a potential client from some competing tech company. Weren't you dating Jessica Chen? She asked randomly. Told her yes, briefly. Small world, she said. She interviewed for our senior marketing position last week. Looked amazing on paper, but something felt off during the interview. Like she was saying what she thought we wanted to hear, rather than being genuine. Then she dropped the bomb. After I saw that post about your sculpture, everything made sense. We rejected her immediately. Word's getting around too. My friend at Axiom Tech said they won't even consider her applications anymore. Turns out Jessica's been trying to escape her reputation by applying all over town, but the industry's too small. That one moment of showing who she really is has followed her everywhere. She's essentially branded herself as someone who mocks quality work to impress others. Career suicide for a marketing professional. Last month, she emailed me. I owe you a real apology, not just the public one. I've done a lot of reflecting. What you created was beautiful, and my reaction said everything about me and nothing about your work. I understand if you don't respond. Just needed you to know." She closed it with, "I hope you can move past this one mistake and not hold it over me forever. After all, everyone's allowed to mess up once, right? Read it once, couldn't believe the audacity, and I never replied." From what Tyler tells me, she's still stuck in that dead-end department, watching people she used to manage get promoted past her. Meanwhile, I'm expanding my workshop, hiring staff, getting featured in design magazines, and have a 6-month client waitlist. Never set out for revenge, but gotta admit there's something satisfying about watching someone face the natural consequences of their own actions. She showed everyone exactly who she was, and now she's living with the results. Some people only understand what they had after losing it. Not my problem. I've got metal to shape and a life to live. And I'm pretty good now. Much better.